Hello, everyone. I wanted to share a little trick with you guys that I found extremely interesting that I've developed today, in which is, there's very good benefits in working with multiple scenes. So I have my character and I had the HUD scene and the inventory scene to work on this. Now, all those things, when you play the game, they're gonna have to be loaded by script. But if you were to go back to a scene, so let's say I started, I take this scene here, this prison cell scene, and then I add the inventory UI to this, and I add the, well, maybe not the inventory UI. Let's instead, well, let's just say I add the inventory UI and I add the head-up display on top of this. So now let's say I save this prison cell and then I go back to doing something else. And then at some point I load the prison cell scene again. Well, the HUD and the inventory are gone because they're other scenes. So this is not saved into the prison cell scene, the fact that I have the HUD in it. So, so fortunately, there is something that we can do to kind of fix this. So here now I'm going to open another scene I made, which is, where is it? The testing scene, ability test. And let's see what happens when I load this scene. So I have ability test, still nothing loaded, but I have a scene loader here, and I'm gonna load scene setup, and bam, this will load my HUD in my inventory. And so let's say now I wanted to add another test on top of that, another UI on top of that. Let's add the main menu. I mean, obviously this is not looking very good. This is just for the illustration purpose. And in my scene loader, I save the scene setup. And if I then load, where is it again? Ability test again. Okay, all the things are gone. And I take my scene loader, load scene setup, and there you go. This loads all my scenes. Now, how did I do that? Well, several things. Where is it? Where is it? Where did I save this? Yeah, here. So I created a scriptable object that is called scene setup. And so in my script here, management, I have a saved scene setup scriptable object. And as you can see, it's a very simple scriptable object. It just contains an array of scene setup. And what is a scene setup? Well, it's a very simple Unity object that contains the path to a scene, the active state of the scene, and the loaded state of the scene. That's all it contains. But we can use that data to load this thing, and I have an auto scene loader. Now, originally I called it auto scene loader because I was doing the things on awake, but this was leading to some recursivity problems where I would load a scene that contains an other auto scene loaders that would load the same scene, and I would go into an endless loop and Unity would crash, and that's bad. So that's why now it's manual. I have a context menu. That's the button you see there. You don't normally see a button with context menu. It's an add-on I've added, which is called reorderable inspector. Just look it up by Subject Nerd. It's a very nice thing, and that package contains something that shows buttons for context menus, which is a huge time saver. So what does this do? Well, it has a reference to a saved scene setup. When I save the scene setup, so this is the save button, it is going to create a new instance of save scene setup. It is then going to say, hey, my setup scene asset is going to be the setups here. And is going to, yeah, the setups of my save scene setup is going to be editor scene manager dot get scene manager setup. And this returns an array of scene setup, as you can see. And then if the asset database does not already contain the scriptable object I have here, well, then I create a new one, and this will save it. And I use the scene name and append the setup asset to it. And that's all. That's all there is. And that's pretty cool. It's really simple, and it's going to be a time saver, I think, for a lot of people. So don't hesitate. You can find, because this is not a source code that I came up with. I found it in, where is it? In here. Now this guy does this on Awake. I strongly recommend against it because of the recursive problem I've had. But yeah, just make a load thing and click on it. This avoids unfortunate behaviors. And so if you look for saving multi-scene setup, you'll find that in Google, and you'll find this conversation here, which dates actually back to 2013, but this is a great thing. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. I certainly did. And till you next time.